Welcome to Sustainability News Network, bringing you the finest in triple bottom line since yesterday. I'm your head anchor, Katie Lassing.
And I'm your co-anchor, Adam Smith. You know, Katie, it seems kind of odd that you would be the head anchor and I would be the co-anchor.
What do you mean?
Well, just that normally it's the man in the head anchor position and the woman in the co-anchor position.
Yeah, well, in this case, I believe our boss picked talents over sexism.
Oh, Katie, you do terrify me. In any case, how about you start off our first news story?
Gladly. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are one of the bigger hot-button issues in today's scientific community. Some believe that messing with the genetic structures of living beings is dangerous, while others believe that splicing helpful genes between certain plants could help in world hunger. It's a fascinating subject that we've wanted to know more about, so we sent our top investigative journalist, Kyle Curtis, to China in order to examine one particularly important type of GMO. Kyle?
Katie, I'm here in China, where I've just finished meeting with some researchers from the International Rice Research Institute here at one of their branches in China. And boy, have they done a lot of important work on rice.
But Kyle, rice? It's so tiny. It couldn't possibly make that big a difference, could it?
As a matter of fact, Adam, it could. Rice is the most important food crop in the world, with 540 kilocalories per capita. Rice is especially heavily consumed in Asia, which houses more than half of the world's population. So of course, a lot of research has gone into keeping rice products healthy and growing. In India specifically, crop yield used to be a problem. The local strains of rice weren't growing nearly enough to feed the growing population. Luckily, the scientists at the IRRI were able to take action. They crossbred two strains of rice from Indonesia and Taiwan, producing a quick-growing and high-yielding strain that prevented famine in the country, giving it the name India Rice 8. It practically revolutionized rice production in Asia, and is now referred to as the first miracle rice. Since then, the IRRI has gone on to produce several different strains of rice, including salt and drought-resistant breeds. I think it's safe to say that these scientists are the best in their field.
Thank you for that, Kyle. Now, crop yield is not the only thing affecting rice. In some areas of India, flooding is also becoming a very big problem. So, the International Rice Research Institute has developed a new kind of rice called Sawarna Sub 1. This is a cross between low-yielding Indian rice and a high-yielding strain called Sawarna. Now, the low-yielding Indian rice contains a gene that allows it to survive underwater for up to 2 weeks. This crop, Sawarna Sub 1, has been planted by nearly 4 million farmers, primarily those in the lower castes of India where they are given heavily flooding lands.
Very good information, Katie. Now, it is of course important to remember that these are technically not true GMOs. A true GMO is a cross between two unrelated organisms, and since these are both rice strains, these are technically only a crossbreds. With that aside, we'd like to continue this segment with a special guest. Everyone please welcome from the International Rice Research Institute office based in Norway, Thor Sigurdsson.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, Kyle. Tell me, after the success of the IR8, where we miracle rice, it's Sawarna Sub 1. What has the IRI been up to?
I'm glad you asked about that, Katie. We're actually working on changing rice from a C3 crop to a C4 crop. Now what that basically means is that we're changing the type of carbon emissions that rice organisms give off during photosynthesis.
Wow, a C4 crop, huh? Sounds like an explosive discovery.
Are you proud of that? Are you proud of that joke? This could save people from starving. This is not funny.
Okay.
Actually, I'm kind of glad you got this. You were telling me before the show, Adam, that there was this thing called the Millennium Project.
Yeah, I mentioned that before the show. It's really similar to the work you guys do in Norway. The Millennium Project was something founded in 1996 with the express purpose of creating goals for the world's largest countries to work towards as the millennium approached.
Oh, actually, we work towards 3 of those explicit goals. 1, we work to end poverty and hunger. We work to promote gender equality. And we work towards sustaining the environment.
So, I understand how you deal with the poverty and hunger, especially with IRA and so on and so on, but how exactly do you deal with gender equality and the environment?
Well, with gender equality, we actually hire a lot of women to work in our fields. Now, especially in India, in a lot of cases, this is basically the only job that women can get. Now, in terms of sustainability, we actually, when we help with poverty and hunger, we tend to give people in the lower caste system in India rice basically for free. Now, that's only on the condition that they allow us to conduct studies on their land and that they don't use pesticides on their rice crops. Now, rice paddies actually have their own little ecosystem that helps prevent pests from getting onto their own crops as well.
Such as like the ingrats and the beta fish, correct?
That's absolutely correct. I see you've done your research, Katie.
Now, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for coming in, Thor.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's all for today, and we'll see you next week, assuming, of course, global warming doesn't kill us.